Oh, I need this because I'm blind as hell. I need to look at live on this screen also, so I can so I can see the words. I can't see the words on my
Oh,
screen.
okay. No, and that job would cost way more money too. Way more than what he's charging them.
Right. But yeah, so I was just for everybody that's wondering why we just staring, they just staring at us, wondering. I was trying to get another screen up so I can look at the comments. All right, so let's get this thing popping off. Another live on Saturday, Alex, and like we said, we'd do this so more people can just have that conversation. And then of course we always did it in the Discord. And then of course we was limited, especially with the links at the bottom of the description for people to join, that we had to keep refreshing the Discord, refreshing the links. So we said, damn that, we'll just go live on Saturday. Um, but with that, uh, the topic today, the best view comes after the hardest climb. And then I don't think, excuse me, people really understand your story. When what I mean by really understand your story, and I get it, and I hear it offline, and people talk about it all the time. Of like, yeah, who's the white guy? Who's the white guy? They think you came from with a silver spoon in your mouth. For the record, everybody, Alex is not white. He's Puerto Rican.
I'm still
Um,
white. I'm
yeah,
half and half.
yeah. So he got his father's white genes, but he Puerto Rican. He's speaking Spanish and everything in the house, poppy all the time and all that other stuff he talking about. So, but yeah, Alex, people really don't understand your story. They think you came with a silver spoon in your mouth. So funny things. I mean, this is just over the time I heard it was like, "Hey man, that white guy show Kirby what to do."
Oh my
That
goodness.
was a funny one. That was a funny one out there.
No, the
But
other
yeah,
way around.
but so just to give the audience, just a refresher. I mean, I know you can scroll back to the early videos when we was doing videos all sideways and crazy with bad cameras and things like that. We talked about it, but just give people insight on just how you started out, and just show that you didn't come with that silver spoon acumen that everybody believes.
Yeah, no, I think when I first started out, I was probably around, like, if we go back to like the beginning where I started thinking about money differently than just having like a job. Because I had my first job at 14. I was doing like data entry for a family friends company. And I was getting paid like, it was like $1.25 a page that I would complete, and I could get like 5 6 pages done in an hour. That was the first time I started like actually making money. So I was 14. By the time I was 16, a cousin of mine, he had introduced me to like selling on eBay. And on eBay, it was like the first time, I'm 16. It was like the first time I'd seen like, oh, like you can, like, I'd heard of garage sales and stuff, but I like never thought of like having like an online store. I was 16. I wasn't really paying attention to that kind of stuff. Um, and so in that household, I was living with my mom and my stepdad at the time. And in that household, my stepdad's father had a lot of like military memorabilia. He was a Korean War, Vietnam War veteran, so he also liked to collect stuff. So I started seeing, kind of getting interested in like collecting that kind of stuff. And then I started seeing it for sale. Like I was just like looking up, like seeing if I could buy it online. And when I'd seen that it was listed for sale, I was like, wow, like people could sell this stuff. And then here it is at the house. And then I was like, let me see if I could get permission to sell some of this stuff, which I did. and also knew that there was an Army Navy store close by, so I'd went there and I'd gotten a helmet for like $30. And then I looked up some similar helmets and then listed it for sale, and it sold for like $300. And that was the first sale I ever made, and that just kind of was the start as to showing, I guess, showing myself or learning that there's a different way to make money um, other than just working at a day job.
Right. Yeah, and then so like growing up. So what was growing up like? Like so when you got to like your 16-year-old self, and then so what was that like growing up? Was you over there in Beverly Hills? Where were you at?
Nah, I lived in Claremont. It's a small city inside of Tampa. It's near like Progress Village.
You can say it.
About
It's the hood. It's the
about
hood. You can say it.
it's like 15 minutes from Ybor. It's a
The
very
hood.
Latino and black neighborhood. That's where I grew up. I was actually so I was born in like Brandon Hospital, but I lived my first 5 years on like so Claremont has like a Latino and a black side pretty much. 78th Street divides the two neighborhoods. And it's not like it's segregated. It's just primarily you have one side that has primarily black people, and the other side is primarily like Latinos. So I had grown up first 5 years with my grandmother. My mom and I, we lived in one of her rooms that she had, a spare bedroom in the house. So I grew up with my grandmother and Ray. You know Ray Kirby. The first 5 years, and then we had moved out to some apartments. You know you might know Kirby. You know the apartments like in that wooded area. It almost looks like a forest, and it's right off 301 near your where your condos are. There's some apartments right like next to that intersection near the CVS.
Nah, I'm scared to go over there. I don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
man, it's not that bad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But anyway, so like I'm sure you pass it all the time. It's literally like a wooded area, and it looks like a little forest. But you go in there, and there's a whole apartment complex. We lived there for about like a year or so, and then we moved to the villages of Bloomingdale, where you got your condos at. We moved there. I was probably like 7 years old, and then I think by the time I was 9, 10, financial crisis hit, and the that neighborhood got really bad. From what I understand, you might know more since you invest in that neighborhood, Kirby. But like from what I understand, a lot of investors started just renting out to Section 8 in that neighborhood, and then there was a lot of crime in that neighborhood, um, SWAT raids and all that stuff. Um, and then we moved out of there when I was 14, because there was also a there was like a neighbor that was like stalking me. This lady was crazy, straight up stalking me every day.
So you was on the Cougars. You was on the Cougars
Yeah.
way before it was cool, right?
No, I think she wanted to kill me. This lady was crazy. Um, but we ended up moving out when I was 14 to Sefner, and then lived on Peach Avenue near what's that high school? I think it's Armwood or whatever. And then was living there for 2 years, and then we moved back to Claremont. And that's when we were living with my stepdad.
Right.
Uh oh.
Journey. Starting your financial journey.
St-
What was the dynamic there? What I mean by that is what was it like? So you in the in your home with your mom and your stepfather or your father. And so what was the dynamic there? And then what made you say, hey, it's time for me to make a shift and then move on to bigger and better things?
so, so like financial dynamic until meeting my stepdad, my mom was. I mean, she was a single mom. She worked her ass off, really. She worked like 16, 17-hour days, two, three jobs for that long. Put me through private school, which is where I get a lot of people make fun of me. But it was only because she was able to afford it by working her ass off, really. So growing up with just her, my financial dynamic was just like learning. She was a big saver, but she was always just like she saved just enough in case of an emergency. It was never like saving for like some huge goal, like like we talk about to like invest in something or come up with a business. It was just like she had her savings in like a rainy day fund, but and she was able to pay her bills, but that was kind of the extent. So I definitely got the saving aspect from her. Always have money set aside. But by the time her and my stepfather had gotten together, got married and all that, um, combined they made a lot of money. They made probably 15,000 a month, maybe more. And this is like take home, but it got spent a lot. I mean, the house was paid off. I remember that because the house was from my stepfather's father. He had paid it off for like 30 grand back in the 80s and left it to him. So there was like no mortgage, but I saw a bunch of, they had a bunch of income, but like, um, it was just a lot of spending. They just wanted to, upgrade appliances, upgrade, go do vacations, maybe go out to eat, stuff like that. It wasn't, I never saw any kind of investing, not even for retirement or nothing like that.
Right. So when you like you going on your financial journey and then you're looking at it and then of course you just sold some stuff online and then you're wondering why people sit there and have to work all the time and they can't spend time doing what they want to do. What was that big euphoric shift for you to be like, all right, I don't want to live the life that my parents is fostering, I want to do something else?
So the moment where I started thinking of it differently was that moment when I had made like that first sale on eBay, and it wasn't just like that sale specifically, but it was like further sales and further sales. And then in high school, I mean, I was doing this at 16, and I was maybe profiting like 2,000 to 2,500 a month. Um, and this was what 9, 10 years ago. So I was like, and I went to a private school, so private school teachers don't make a lot of money. So I was making like what they were making, and they had college degrees, and that kind of opened my eyes to, like I'm not a millionaire, but I'm making a wage that this teacher is making, and this teacher went through college and is telling me to go into debt and do the same thing and go to college. Um, so once I started seeing that I could make a wage on my own without having to report to a boss, I liked that idea. I liked that concept. And that was where I started looking at like I guess my parents and started seeing like they don't have that freedom to decide when they're gonna work or what they're gonna do. They just have to report to a job. Now my mom, she does do nails. She's in the nail salon business. Um, but and it definitely I definitely had questions of to why didn't she pursue this maybe more to be completely independent from having to report to a job. But then there were the concerns of not having benefits, not having um, like 401k or insurance. So there was like that stuff. But after that moment, I started just trying to like find an answer to like how can I be independent from a job, and especially social media opened my eyes to that too. Like I mentioned previously, like I saw like Tim Sykes trading. That was the first guy I'd seen. He was doing like penny stock trading, and I think that was around the time when when Chris had um, put me on the phone with you, and I was like, "Hey, should I do penny stocks?" And you were like, "No." But we didn't talk for like another. That was the first time we spoke, and I didn't speak to you again for like 2 or 3 years after that.
Right. Yeah, and that was the key. But I mean, it's it's amazing that we even reconnected after that call because when you called me, I believe I just got off a mission in Afghanistan. That's where I was at. I don't. Of course, the person that we talking about, Chris, he always had my contact information no matter where I was at in the world. But we had that conversation, and yeah, it was just amazing that we linked up years later to make that happen. But the reason why I wanted you to talk about, where you came from, because like I said, I hear it all the time. Like this guy came from with a silver spoon in his mouth, and then of course, I always hear that, oh man, this white guy here is teaching Kirby very well. But the thing is I mean, even though they made 15K a month or whatever, back even in the, during the GFC or right after the GFC or whatever, they didn't know what to do with the money. And then so when we talk about the best view comes from the hardest climb, it's understanding where you start at, and then you got to make sacrifices to get to the other side. So, and then for everybody, just ask questions. We just sit here having a conversation, but if anybody has questions, please ask the questions, and then we will get to those questions. But we just, having a conversation about, how we started off. Um, but so for me, it was more of, my mom always did her thing. My mom, when I talk about ultimate hustler, when I talk about ultimate hustler, like not hustler, like hey, I'm scheming, but no excuses. That's what I mean. No excuses. And that's where I first learned the concept of no excuses from my mom. Because my mom back in the 80s, I know that's before you was born, you wouldn't even know nothing about the 80s, Alex. But so my mom, I remember her, she having a job, and then she having a job and then she's buying a car because cars, that's the hallmark of saying, hey, I made it. She's bought a car, but then she just gave the car to her family and friends so they can drive it in Detroit, and Detroit the hood. But even in Detroit, car or not, my mom would get up and catch 2 buses a day to go to work, not miss a day, not miss a day. No excuse of, oh, I don't know where my car is, so I'm just gonna take a FMLA day or whatever these days is, sick day or whatever the hell these people call it. Every day got up, so it was no excuse. She just went and did it every day, every day, every day. And then, so you fast forward, and then for me, I was a guy that was like, damn this, I ain't never leaving home because these bills is official. I don't want no part of these bills. And then of course, kids do stupid kid stuff, have kids and all that, what have you. And then, so once I had a kid, I had to be like, all right, now I got to make a plan, because I knew one thing for sure. I knew I could leech off of my mom, but I wasn't gonna have another kid and then we both leached off of mom. So that was really the crux of it. So once I'm in college, I'm calling myself playing football, but the truth is I just don't want to leave the house because I ain't trying to. Mom already paying the bills. Why the hell we need to pay two bills? We a team. You might have a boyfriend, but we married. She just don't know it. We married. I'm trying to move in too. But then so then I had a kid, and I realized, okay, now I can't be that leech. I can't be that person. So then I, go to the military, yada yada yada. And then so now we at the point of getting out the military. And then this is what I mean by hard times. People don't want to go through that transition of hard times to get to the better view. So when I get out the military, it's great financial crisis. So you just about being born, you fresh off the nipple, so it's about great financial time, right? And then but for me, it's all right, game time. So I get out the military, and I'm thinking of the same adage of, I'm in the military, people gonna give me jobs. That didn't happen. And then so I'm literally 18 months, 2 years, no job. But magically in that 18-month time frame, I didn't have a job, but I was able to get a loan to build a house in Texas. So I built a house because they say, hey, I can afford it. I can afford it. I know I don't have a job. They know I don't have a job, but hey, these people are more smarter. So they say I can afford it. I can afford it. So I go get the house. Worst decision of my life. And then I get the house, but I have no job. So now I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I think I'm the next Daniel Negreanu, Phil Ivey. I'm just gonna gamble my way through this whole juggernaut. But the problem is the bills got more expensive because I left an apartment and went to a house. The bills got more expensive, but the income never changed. I went from broke to broke, you know. So then I'm credit card transferring, I'm doing a whole nine. But still, and then the hallmark of it is I end up 250K in debt, still no job. So if me, somebody coming from the inner city of Detroit, you, somebody that's coming from Claremelle, that's like the hood of Tampa for people that don't know. Coming from those situations, you can still make it out if you just go through the process of climbing out. And then of course I'm $250,000 debt. But this is the hallmark and changing moment of it is if you want to change, if you want extreme change. So I'm $250 in debt, no job. I want to be able to have money with a job. So that's an extreme change from no money. So but if I want that extreme change, I have to, and I'm talking to all the viewers out there, you have to be willing to do something extreme. Now, I'm not saying go extreme as me, but you have to make sacrifice. Like for me, it was more of, all right, I don't have a job. The only thing I know how to do, I know how to shoot. I don't think we can say kill on YouTube, but I said it. Shoot, kill, and communicate. You know, well, in the military, is shoot, move, and communicate. But that's all I knew how to do. And then so what I did was no job. I was 18 months without a job. I'm sitting here stuck. Something got to happen. I called a unit that I knew that was deploying, and then I joined that unit so I can deploy to go to Iraq with the sole purpose only to get out of there. Now, some people that never been to combat, they'll be like, "Oh, you crazy." That's an insane way to get out of debt. But the truth is okay, if I'm willing to go to that extreme, and I'm saying everybody, you don't have to go to extreme as I am. So everything less than willing to put your life on the line, you should be willing to do to change your situation. Am I saying something wrong there, Al?
No.
Yeah. So that's all it is. I mean, we were doing other things. We were doing other things also. I mean, Alex, I told you about how we unscrew light bulbs in the house so we can get that electricity bill down. My wife still to this day, she will limit on how low I can change the AC unit. I mean, now we can afford it, but she's still stuck with it. But those was the things we did to mitigate the cost. But we did stuff extreme. Now, Texas is hot as hell, and we would be sitting there at 74 degrees. I mean, no, 74. No, that's blasphemy. We'd be sitting there at 77 degrees with the AC unit, and that was it. Anything less than that, it was already locked. Like my wife literally locked the AC unit so it could go no below 77. So we went from like 360 for electricity bill till we got down to like 180. It's a savings. And then of course I deployed to go to Iraq. I stayed there for a year. People can't even sacrifice for 3 months, but I stayed there for a year. And the only thing I did with all the money was pay off debt, pay off debt, pay off debt. I talk to people all the time and I say, hey, you need to downsize the life that you live so you can get to the goals that you want. Oh no, this is my forever home. I'm so emotionally attached to this home. I can't do it. We built the house and we got out of the house subject to, and Alex, we were just talking about subject to for a situation you're in. But
Mhm.
we got out of the house subject to, and we moved into a house newly built to an apartment. So the house was 3,000 square feet. We moved to a 600 square foot apartment. Those are sacrifices people have to make, but nobody want to make the sacrifices, but they want to complain that they don't get the results that they want to get. So that's that's the crazy element of it. And then so when I sit here and then now, of course, now I started this what 2008, 2009, and then now I sit here. The same people who knew me when I was broke, who knew me when I had nothing, who knew me when I lived in the hood of Detroit, and then I stayed with roaches running around the house. Now they act like I'm a brand new guy. Oh man, yeah, you could say that because you got it. Oh, you forgot I started somewhere. I started somewhere. And I started when you thought that you had more money than me. Well, at that time you did. I was super broke. And then so that is the key. Rakaya asks, so when did I start seeing a difference? All right, hold on, wait, let me back up on the comments here. What would you suggest for wealth building does that does not include real estate? Alex, I'll let you answer that one first.
For me, and Kirby owns like businesses and stuff. But the other option that I use is stocks, particularly stock options. Selling call options, selling puts, covered puts, covered calls. There's some videos on that, and I'm sure we've spoken about it in some of our videos too. I don't want to make it complicated, but essentially, you can make an income off of stock holdings that you have or a cash position that you have in the stock market. So um, you could sell contracts and collect income. It kind of operates similarly to like how you would own a house and collect rent. It's kind of the same thing. That's what we do on a monthly or weekly basis.
And Alex, just to dumb it down, and Rakaya, I'm gonna get to your question because I love your question. Just to dumb it down, the first thing, because people that's been following this channel for a minute, I always talk about saving 80% of the income. It didn't start off at 80% of the income. It started by investing $50 a month into a mutual fund, and then from there, of investing $50 a month to a mutual fund, of course, index to the S&P 500 or index to the Nasdaq 100. If you need a mutual fund, one that I use is FXAIX. But it just started there at $50. And then so every dollar that we found that we can cut from utilities, from paying off debt or whatever, we didn't use that as spending money. We use that as investment money. So I know it's going to be hard to believe for people, but from 2009 till 2013, the only money that me and my wife had to spend was $50 a month to just blow on whatever. Everything else was invested, but it started off there. Every time that we cut a bill, like we talked about unscrewing light bulbs, getting electricity down from 300 and something down to 175, all that extra savings went to investing. All that, all that. When we moved from moved from the house paying $1,400 a month and moving into an apartment for $600 a month. That $800 a month went to investing. That didn't say, "Oh, now I can afford a new car payment." It just went to investing, investing, investing. And then to so that's and it you have to keep it simple. You don't have to be cute about it or whatever, but you can just use the FXAIX or a mutual fund that's indexed to the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq, and then you can get there over time to build wealth if you don't want to use real estate. But just FYI, LMM, majority of the millionaires in the United States has some form of real estate in their portfolio. That's how they become millionaires. All right, so Rakaya, when did you start seeing the difference? That's a one that for me, and then Alex, you can chime in on after I told you to do crazy stuff. But for me, when I started seeing difference was I was super broke. That's where I was at. But I start seeing difference when I stopped blaming anybody else but myself for the condition that I was in. Of course, I came from Detroit. We had the excuse of the white man hold me down. It ain't nothing out here for black people. All the excuses that you hear in the hood, I heard them all. But one day I just looked in the mirror and said, the only reason why I'm in this situation is because of the only reason why you're in this situation is because of you. And it goes back to the first thing I said. My mom was the ultimate, hey, no excuse. I'm getting to work no matter what. No matter if my brother or sister or family member had my car, no matter if it's snowing, raining, or whatever, I'm getting on two buses, going through the inner city of Detroit, and I'm getting there. So then once I had that, epiphany that if I stop blaming everybody else and put all the onus on me, then I can't blame nobody else. That was a major turning point for me. And then so now I just went from, and then I can get a little deeper than that later on, but that's when it was a changing point for me to like, all right, I can't blame the Dave Ramsey's, I can't blame the Alex's and and what have you that's out there who already got the money and they won't show me how. I said, this is a moment that I need to indoctrinate myself and I need to learn everything that I need to learn. I can't be sitting there, oh, the rich won't tell us how to do it. I don't I don't need to take part. I'm here to take over. So I'm going to learn it myself and I'm going to do it. That was a change point for me. Everybody think getting wealth or getting rich or anything like that is about income. It has nothing to do with income. It's all about the mindset you have to make it happen. I don't care if you. I know people that make $800,000 a year and are broke, but I also know people that make $20 an hour who are millionaires. But it's the mindset on what you choose to do with the money. That is what changed you, and that was the starting point for changing me. Alex, I don't know if you got anything on that before I get to the next question.
No, I mean, what, Rakai, what do you mean by difference in like lifestyle, or difference in um, our earlier lives? I'm just trying to understand the question better.
All right. While we're kind of replying to that, Lavita saying, how did you know where to start investing? Ah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Alex, I'll let you go first because you got the cheat code, but I'll tell you how I
That
started.
guy right there. No, from Kirby. I mean, and it wasn't just as simple as Kirby like saying, "Hey, do this, buy that." Um, but he gave me the blueprint, honestly, and that's what I was looking for. I was the whole time, um, since 16 to 21 is when I really actually sat down and talked to you and met you. I was looking for a blueprint because I just saw so many things that raised questions for me, and I didn't have answers to them. I saw people, especially on social media, traveling the world, like making money while traveling and getting to live however they want to live, but they're doing it from a laptop in their hotel room in Bali or whatever. I'm like, how are people doing this? Like, they're not going to a job. And so it gave me an insight of like so much freedom. So I was looking for that blueprint of how to do it. When I met Kirby, I would say what he showed me how to do was to understand financials and evaluate what is a good investment, right? So understanding the numbers are going to make or break a deal. And if you understand the numbers and maybe how you can manipulate them, or at what price a deal is worth, and if you can get it for a lower price, just understanding that aspect, understanding how to buy deals, and then really falling into that. It's just a matter of coming up with the capital, whether that's you cutting your expenses, whether it's coming up with more income, working your job, using that income, however you need to do it, but just get the income and the capital to put into deals that you're finding, and then see your money grow from there. So that was, I wouldn't say it was like a specific stock or investment you told me to buy, but it was how to buy stocks or how to buy investments.
Right, and that was and for me, I'm always of the philosophy of I don't want you to be dependent on me to make money. But for me, I had a again, and Rakai, I see your message. LM, I see your message too. I'm gonna get to those. Um, and then I think if I answer Rakaya's message, then I can answer Levita's message also. But let me see what LM said. All right, so LM, I'm gonna answer this all with the Rakaya message right there. So Rakaya pointed out Road Dog asked to tell you about the Dave Ramsey story. So here's the Dave Ramsey story, and I think I'm gonna encompass everybody's question in this story. So this is what happened. So I get out the military. I get out the military. This is circa 2007. I get out, and then the reason why I got out is because my wife was in the Air Force. She was on a different deployment rotation. So when she came back from Afghanistan or Iraq, I was leaving to go to Afghanistan or Iraq. So she called me one day when she was in Iraq and said, "Hey, one of us got to get out, and your ETS date is first." I thought I would be in the military forever. I ain't gonna lie, but she said that, and then I had that illusion like I can make it. If I can make it in Afghanistan or Iraq, I can make it anywhere. Uh, I was too confident in myself at the time. I'm not gonna lie. And then but I thought I was going to be the World Series poker hero, and I was going to be the next Daniel Negreanu, Phil Ivey. That's what I thought I was going to be doing. I'm not going. I'm not going to shoot y'all at all. And then I thought, all right, this is my chance to get out the military, and then I can go sit there, and then I can go play poker, 24/7. But anyway, I get out the military, and I'm getting my ass kicked every way from Sunday. I'm losing all the money. All the little money I had saved up for the military, I lost it. So I had a little town in Killeen. Like whenever I got low on funds, I would go back to Killeen just to try to re-up my funds and try it again to lose money. This actually happened to be the same day of the Fort Hood shooting when the major attacked soldiers on Fort Hood. I was headed down to Fort Hood, and then I went to Killeen with my last maybe $300, $400. But me, I was so confident when I got down there. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm gonna go re-up this, turn this 300 to 3,000. I'm good. I get to Killeen, and then I proceed to lose the $300 I had. That was the last 300. I ain't have no more credit cards to max out. I had no more fund transfers to do. I done had about 30 or 40 credit cards I done fund transfer from, so they wasn't dealing with me. So then now I'm sitting there stumped. I don't have nothing. I got about I got about $15 left before I max out the last credit card I had. So I proceed to leave, and it's a 2 hour drive from Killeen to San Antonio because that's where I lived at the time. And and then so instead of taking the fast route home, I took the 2 hour 3 hour route the long way because I was just so mad at myself. So I just took the back roads all the way back to San Antonio, and And then, of course, I only had FM, AM radio, but none of the stations were working. But it was one station on AM radio that was working. But I would hear people close to my age at the time, I'm about 26, 27, that was talking about their debt free. And I'm thinking it's an infomercial, but it's the only channel I could listen to the whole ride home. So I'm just listening to the infomercial the way what I thought was an infomercial. And then people calling in talking about their debt free. It was on a Friday, it was debt free spring Friday. And and I'm just listening, and I'm getting more frustrated because now I'm hearing people my age, they getting out of debt, and I'm swimming in the biggest debt possible. And then I proceeded to make it home, and like I said, I think this is November time because I believe Dave Ramsey was having a Christmas sale on his book. Like I said, I only had like $12 left before I maxed out a credit card. And then he was like, "Young Christmas sale on my book," and I told myself then while I'm driving, I'm going to buy this book because like 10.99. So with tax, I just covered it with the $12 I had left on my credit card. I said I'm gonna buy this book and I'm gonna listen to everything he say and do everything he say so I can call this radio station and cuss him out because where I came from, a white man ain't out here to help black people, but I can have an excuse. And no shame to Dave Ramsey at all, none at all, because I was mad at myself because I wasn't performing as a man, as a husband, as a father. So I wanted to take it on somebody else. But I get the book. I get the book. I read the book. I think I read it in about 18 hours. Then I ran back and read it again. I ran back and read it again. And then so when I read it again, I uh I was like, hey, this is what I need to do. And then I just proceeded to do it, do it, do it. And then when it came to like and then you just saw steps. You start seeing steps building, building, building. Okay, start eliminating your expenses. Then when you eliminate your expenses, then you have more money to pay off other debts. Paying off the other debts now it gives you more money to start investing. And then to Levita's question about how did I start investing? I learned where to invest. I learned where to invest by making a lot of mistakes. I didn't have platforms like YouTube or other other avenues or message boards where it was mentors or people sitting out there willing to give you the information ad hoc at the press of a button. So I was in Iraq at the time. I remember, and then I'm walking through a dining facility, and then I hear on the TV screen that this is the greatest recession since the Great Depression. The only thing that stuck in my mind was the Great Depression recovered. This will too eventually. I didn't know when. And then I only had one phone call to make. And the phone call was not to somebody I could be like, oh, this person's doing big, but I only knew one person in my life that actually went to college and graduated, and they just happened to be in finance. So I called her Tanya. She's passed now, but it was my cousin Tanya. She passed, and but at the time I called her and I said, "Hey, what did you go to school for?" And then she said finance. I said, "Do you know anything about stock market?" She said, "I've never traded in the stock market, but this is the stuff that was taught in our class when we had to do a little module on stocks." And then she helped me buy my first stock, which was Merck. And for people that's watching, now you can go on the Robin Hoods, the Thinkorswims, and things like that. At that time, I had to actually go on the company's website and buy the stock from the website of the company. And that was my first stock that I bought 10 shares of Merck. I spent, I don't know, about $60 or something like that. I can't remember the amount I spent. But from then on, she had no other clue because she never invested in the stock market. So for me, it was investing, bumping my head, making a mistake, studying the mistake, pivot, do something else, make another mistake, study that, pivot the mistake. Now, in this world right now with YouTube and all this other stuff, you get to avoid the mistakes that I had to go through. But I didn't have nobody to talk to ask these questions. So I just had to keep going, keep going, keep going. Even though sometimes I blew up my account, sometimes I lost a lot of the money in the account, not knowing what I was doing, but I just kept studying my mistakes and kept doing something else. And then eventually I got there. Eventually I got to the point of knowing that, hey, you don't have to be fancy. You don't have to be unique. Only thing you need to do is invest in the market. Like the mutual fund is indexed to the S&P 500 or the SPY, the ETF. You know, you don't have to go going down the ether looking at individual stocks because individual stocks are more risky. So that's how I learned how to do it. Um, my biggest mistake, and then Alex, you can say, well, Alex, what was your biggest mistake in investing? And I'll come back.
All right.
LM said, what was your biggest mistake along the way after you thought you had it figured out? Oh, this you right here. This you right here. I already know your story. Go ahead.
Oh
I'll be
man.
right back.
All right. So I'm not gonna lie. So for the most part, I've been spoiled by Kirby. He's given me the cheat code, like he said, and I've just listened to all his advice. But sometimes I try to do my own thing, and then I mess up. So the biggest mistake I would say, and this was in the stock market, was company. The company was Rocket Mortgage or Rocket Companies, um, where the stock. This is so funny because I remember it like it was yesterday. So the stock had I was investing in the stock for I think like 21 or $22, something like that. And the stock was one of those stocks where it was like just always flat, just like didn't move much, moved like up and down like a dollar. And they reported earnings, and then I think the stock went up to like 24, and that was on a Friday. And then that was like kind of a big move. And at this time, me and Kirby were selling call options, like I had mentioned. So using, each 100 shares, you could sell a contract against those shares and get income. And so let's say each contract pays maybe $20. So I had about, I think, 1,500 shares at the time. So it was like $300 a week. So then come Monday, the stock runs up. It's like $26 or so. And then Kirby was like, I'm not selling contracts. I don't know what the stock is doing. And I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna just sell my contracts. so, so this was on Monday. So I sell the contracts and I pushed it out. I pushed it out to like 36 or something. I was like, there ain't no way it's gonna go all the way up. By Tuesday, the stock went to like $56 or something. And I was stuck in the contracts. Because the thing is, when you sell contracts, you lock yourself in. So like if you pick your strike price and I picked 36. So every penny it runs past 36 is a dollar more it's going to cost me to buy it back. So I have to buy it back to cancel it. So essentially, I had missed out on the opportunity to make, I think it would have been like a $30,000 profit on the sale of the stock. I'm just doing it off the top of my head. I don't really remember. Between $20,000 $30,000. Um, and so that was the biggest misstep I made. This was like 3 years ago, I think. And then eventually, towards the end of the week, I try to get out of it, and so I bought it at like a $3,000 loss, and then I was only able to recoup like $1,700 of that loss. So I missed out on the opportunity, and then I took a small loss on it too. So it was just a complete fail across the board.
All right. So now, LM, you you about to expose me to my wife, but I'm gonna answer the question because you asked it. The biggest mistake I ever had, and well, forget it. We here now, right? So, like I said, I just started learning to invest, and then wives out there, women out there, you will understand what I say. So, husbands, if you didn't know your wife did this, then well, you about to learn something new. So I started learning how to invest. Like I said, I talked to my cousin Tanya. She told me about Merck. I'm sitting there holding Merck. And but then I'm in every message boards. I'm scouring the internet for information, but I'm seeing people making money in all these different places. And then, like I said, I just went to Iraq just to pay off debt, pay off debt, pay off debt. So the little money that I was getting to invest in the stock market was just crumbs that I had left over after I paid majority of the debt every month off just to eliminate debt. Um, so one day I called my wife from Iraq, and she said, and I told her, I was like, look, I'm about to, I'm getting into investing. And then she said, I believe in you. Now, I'm saying this with true humility. My wife had no reason to believe in me whatsoever at that point in our marriage. I'm just being honest. She said, I believe in you, and hey, I've been saving up this money. And then for the husbands out there, the males out there that don't understand, when the wife say she's saving up money, she got money saved up that you don't know about. This is her rainy day fallout plan that, hey, if this guy fucks up, this is something that I can start over with. But she said, I've been saving up this money. Here, go take it. And and then I could have went the whole alpha male approach. Oh, you've been saving this money. What the hell you doing? I could have went that approach. But by that time, I already looked in the mirror and realized I was the reason why we was in the situation. It wasn't nobody else. It wasn't my wife's decision to say, "Hey, you need to get out the military." So, and then she said, "I believe in you." And then she gave me the money she had saved up for her rainy day. Hey, let me get the hell out of Kirby Way because this dude's a total fuck up fun. And I realized what it was, but I never said nothing about it. And because you brought this question up, she'll probably see it for the first time today. I realized what it was. And then so I got that money, and I thought I had it figured out. I thought I had it figured out. I said, I'm going all in, sponge tech penny stock. We winning right now. I,
Oh my
I,
god.
I, I thought I had it figured out. That was the worst decision I ever made when it came to the stock market. And and the truth is that was terrible. I had like 500,000 shares, and and that thing proceeded to do nothing, nothing. But I'm so worried. Again, that's stop laughing. You messed it up before.
Yo, I didn't know. I knew about Sponge Tech. I didn't know you used your wife's savings for
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went all out. I went all out. That was it.
that.
So,
Oh
so
man.
that's where I went. I went all out, and I said, "This is gonna be us right here. We winning this thing right here." And it proceeded to tank bad. So now I'm scrambling. I'm scrambling. And then the thing is, and true and bless her heart, she wasn't looking at the account to know how bad it was going down, but she probably was, but she just didn't say nothing to me. And then so I would just go, and then I would just try to scrounge up any money I could, just try to fill up the account to make it look like the money was still there. But no, that's when I thought I had it figured out, and it was a total bomb. And then so I just went back every loss that I make. I study the losses more than I win, so I just kept going at it, kept going at it. To Rakaya's question, do you ever want to quit or give up? I'm gonna be honest, Rakaya, I was so broke. I quit. It wasn't nothing to quit to. I'm just being honest. It was nothing to quit to. It was I was already broke. I know what broke was. I could survive broke. So I just kept going. But I would see little wins. Everybody go through this journey. and they want the wins to be big right now. Just for me and my wife to save $50 a month to put in mutual funds, that was a win. Then we, cut down expenses one place and invested. So that $50 a month went to $200 a month. And then of course, we find more expenses to cut, more expenses to cut, and we kept investing. So that was bigger. The investments became bigger. And then of course, when we moved out of that $1,400 a month house to a $600 a month apartment, that's $800 a month that we was able to just invest. So now the account's getting bigger, but they small wins, small wins. And then of course, fast forward years later, of course we kept getting promotions. Of course we kept getting better jobs, but we never lived the better job income. Every penny that we got above what we needed to survive, we invested. So when I talk about I invest 80 to 85%, hell now 100% of my income, but it was those little steps that got us there. But the more money we made, we didn't life creep our life to be like, okay, now I'm a VP at a bank, then now I need to have a Mercedes Benz. Oh, because now I'm retired from the military, or I'm an E6, E7, I need to have a 600 square foot house. None of that. We just stayed with what was comfortable for us, and then we took all the money to invest. Of course, we had the help of inflation. We had the help of the bull markets coming out of the Great Recession and things like that to uplift. But having the assets itself is what got us there. But if you never have the assets, then inflation kicks your ass, the taxes kick your ass, everything else kick your ass, and you never get to reap the benefits of it. But it's the small wins over and over and over again that compounds to the big win. So it's not a hey, I'm gonna save half my paycheck this month, and then in 3 months, then I'm gonna have $1 million. No, it's small wins just keep stacking up, and then that's how life happens. Alex, unless it happened different for you. But
For me, wanting to quit as a whole, like just in general, no. I've never wanted to just like give up on trying to excel financially. But I won't lie, there have been real estate deals where I've acquired the property, but like in the deal itself, I've been like, this shit is just so stressful, and I wanted to just quit. But I always remind myself, and I mean, it's not gonna sound so too inspirational. I just remind myself like I'm gonna look like a bitch to Kirby if I quit. So I just go through the deal. So I'm like, let me not give up on this. But man, I wanted so badly for the lender to be like, yeah, you just don't qualify and have an excuse. But luckily, it didn't go that way. I actually got the deals. So
right, and then for Jay Fasco, no, I don't think none of us do construction in Indiana unless
nope.
Alex, they're talking about your father. They think
Maybe,
you're your father, yeah, but
maybe.
yeah. So no, I haven't done that. Uh, what are some of your biggest challenges starting out and along the way? My biggest challenge in retire. That's a great question, and for everybody it can be different. But for me, it wasn't my biggest challenge because so like I said, I thought I was gonna be Phil Ivy, so I was hanging around in gambling circles, party circles, clubbing. So the biggest the biggest challenge for me was telling everybody the truth. That was the biggest challenge. Was telling the people that I hung around in these circles the truth. I'm broke. I don't really have the money. That was the biggest thing, especially when you're known for being, high stakes at that time, gambler. You always at the club taking shots of Patron Platinum and all that, and then having that circle of people and just admitting that you're broke. And I'm not gonna lie, it sucked for me, and it sucked for a lot of people just to admit, like, hey, I'm broke. Yeah, and I see you said yours is family and birthdays and holidays. No, that's my specialty right there. But that was the biggest thing right there for me to admit to them that I was broke. And I'm not gonna lie, when I finally just said forget it, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and tell everybody, hey, I can't hang out with y'all no more because I'm broke. Out of the 30, 40 people that I told that, it was only one. It was only one person that stuck by me and said, I'm proud of you. I hope I can get to that mindset one day. Only one out of 30 people I told that I was broke. Everybody else was, oh man, I knew you was faking. Oh, you gonna turn your back on me? All that. It was one guy, Justin Jones, and he probably watched this video or tune in later. But that was the only guy that said, "Hey, I'm proud of you, and I will try to make sure I don't bring you into those environments to do that crazy stuff." But we was literally out gambling, partying every night, and then so going to the artist family. We got a couple questions. All right, Levita, I'll go to yours and I come back to Retias. All right, so Alex, I ask you this question: what happens when the market falls and you're all in?
So for me, I think the thing I get mad at the most is that I didn't reserve more capital to buy once the market fell. So like I think like okay, this is a good spot, and then the stock just drops even lower. But as far as the like falling itself, if I know what I'm invested in and I'm confident, I'm not worried at all. I mean, the stock it could drop 50%, and I mean I've seen drops like that, and I'm just not worried. But it's just a matter of if I'm in that right stock and I see that opportunity to where it has dropped drastically, using every spare income that I have to go back into the stock and lower my cost basis.
All right, so one thing I point out is when a stock falls, that don't mean you lost money. You only lose money when you sell it. If you know what you own, then you don't lose money. The value goes down, which is fine. For me, if I'm all in and a stock falls, and I can tell you times. I can tell you during COVID, literally, COVID's going on, and it just hit United States. I'm on a plane headed to Europe. Well, I'm not on the plane yet. I'm in the airport, about to board the plane, and then that day it was a Friday. That's when it finally hit Europe, and I already consider myself all in. And then so of course I'm looking at the news or whatever, waiting at the gate, waiting aboard to go to Europe. And then I said, "Oh, the stock market dropping." I start finding money everywhere. I'm in the couch cushions. I mean, of course, I literally wasn't there in the couch cushions, but I'm everywhere looking. It's like, all right, stop this, stop this, stop this, stop this. All the money goes into the market, and then that's what I was doing. I mean, I was so intense on putting money in the market on that drop on that Friday that the lady at the gate almost didn't let me board the plane because he said I was taking too long to get on. And I'm standing there by the gate, and she's like, "You need to get on." I'm like, hold on, let me make one more, one more, one more. But and then so when I land in Europe, it's nothing for me to tell my family, "Hey, everything that we doing, we're stopping because we need to put all our money in the market." That's what it is. It's 100% understanding where our wealth will come from. And we talked about it when we had the Discord that when the world is fearful, or when they call it blood in the streets from Warren Buffett, when the world is fearful, that's when you should be greedy. When the prices are going way below they normally should go, that's when you want to accumulate shares. And then now hindsight's 2020, me putting money in then and just hurry up, plow money in, plow money in, plow money in to figure everything else out. The market recovered in a year and a half. And then now we hit what 75 all-time highs since that drop, or even more. So the key is when the market's dropping and then the news media is putting all that fear mongering out there to be scared, that's when you should be buying. Uh, Alex, I'm gonna let you answer this question because, of course, I always hit it over the head.
On biggest challenges starting out.
No, no, hold on one second. So you do it being in one thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm answering Levi's question about so you do it being in one. Yeah, S&P 500. You don't have to go be sexy and cute. Like me, I'm more exotic because I'm way more experienced in it. But you don't have to do nothing crazy. SPY or mutual fund that's indexed to the S&P 500, or mutual funds is indexed to the um, Nasdaq. So you go SPY, VOO, or something like that. But you don't have to do nothing. Just keep sticking to what you know, what you understand, and you don't have to be sitting there like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy Microsoft here. I'm gonna buy Apple here. I'm gonna buy this here." I mean, me, I understand it because I'm more advanced in that area. But you don't have to. Only thing you have to do is stick to the same script. but when the market's going down, that's when you want to put more in. Like I remember I was just in the text group the other day, and then like cryptocurrency and the market was down. I'm telling people sell their kidneys and sell their firstborn to put some more money in. So that's just the way I am with it. But Rakaya, Alex, this is a question for you. I'm gonna leave it to you because I always beat this over the head. She said, hold on, let me go back so I can piece this all together. Uh, do you ever want to quit and give up? Searching for that financial journey.
Yeah, I answered that
Um,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait. But I'm about to piece it together. All right, but it says you said our biggest issue of searching for that financial freedom is family, birthdays, and holidays. What you got?
So I think that I was at a luxury, I guess I would say, of starting out young in the sense that I was not in my 30s, 40s with kids and or grandkids that have already experienced celebrating birthdays, holidays every single year as like a tradition. So, starting out young allowed me to kind of set what my future life would look like when it came to those events, when it came to birthdays and holidays. So I didn't have to go to the family and say, "Hey, we're not going to celebrate anymore." Fortunately, I didn't have to break, people's hearts with that. Um, as far as holidays and birthdays for me, um, it's just a matter of making the decision what is more important. Is it your finances or is it this day that you want to celebrate? And I've always said it in like on our videos. I'm not a Grinch like Kirby. Kirby's just like if you celebrate holidays or birthdays, you are Al Qaeda and should be exterminated. But I'm not that extreme. But I do strongly believe in you've got to make the right decision. Obviously, celebrating a birthday and celebrating a holiday is a luxury decision. It is not a requirement to survive in life. It is not a requirement to excel in life. But if you want to have that kind of event with your family, with your friends, then you have to be able to afford it and it not hinder you from the growth that you're trying to achieve. And if it does hinder you, you've just got to sacrifice it and give it up. So it's one that my wife and I have, I would say, downplayed mostly. I mean, we still go to the family events and stuff, but as far as buying gifts and buying a whole, buffet for the family, we don't do all that crazy, like, because it's just so much spending. And we understand where our money is more important to be allocated to. Um, family, um, I guess it was one that was a little bit hard at first for me because I was always grown up to be taught like, hey, help out family when they're in need. But the more I started to like go along my own journey and started to see like, wait a minute, I'm making all these sacrifices to have this money. And I've been telling my cousins, I've been telling these people like I'm willing to teach you and you don't want to learn. So the next car accident you get into and you need to fix your bumper, I'm not helping you. You need to figure that out. I've already told you I would help you on how to become financially competent, become financially wise, but you want to continue to live your life the way that you're living it. Your issues are not my financial responsibility. So that was one thing that uh, I would say it took me maybe a year to get over, but quickly after that, it was just cutting off like any family money requests. Just no, I'm not helping you. Friends too. Um, I mean, I've never been asked for like tens of thousands like Kirby. I've been asked for a few thousand though, and it's just no. It's just why. I've already shown you that I'm willing to teach you. If you're not willing to take those steps, then I'm not willing to give you my money.
All right, so Alex gave you the PG-13 rated version. I'm about to give y'all the truth. All right, so this is when it comes to hold on. Let me make sure I'm looking at this thing. All right, so Rakaya say ours is family, birthdays, and holidays. I'm gonna be 100% honest. It's not even an event when my son's birthday is. I like this is my son that's 12. It's not even an event. I don't even bring it up. Uh, I will call his grandparents and tell them happy birthday because without them, it's no him. Just being, but I ain't getting their ass no gifts either. Uh, family and things like that. And so this is the question you got to ask yourself. So if you're the person that they always call to ask when it comes to family, and then I'll reverse back to holidays and birthdays. If you're the person that they always call to ask for help in their situations, would you ever be able to call them to ask for help? That's that's the real question you got to ask yourself. And I'm not saying to be an asshole or anything else like that, but the true reality is if you're always helping you, because every time you give money out, it's a gamble if you will get it back. But also that's opportunity cost that you lost because you could have put it somewhere else to make money. So then we fast forward to birthdays. The reason why I don't give a damn about birthdays because it's not because of the kids this generation. I've seen older generation, people my age, people older. I've seen them. They could be behind on rent, behind on utilities. Life's about to get cut off. Car payment, car about to be repoed. But it's their birthday, so they're gonna spend their whole paycheck on. Oh, it's my birthday. My parents told me, oh, I'm supposed to do whatever I want on my birthday. So you willing to celebrate one day instead of taking care of the responsibilities. That is the reason why I do not, and I have a kid older and a kid younger. I don't even call them on their birthdays because that shit ain't important. Because if you got bills that need to be paid, you need to be focused on the bills, not this one day that's your birthday. Matter of fact, let's take it a step further. You didn't even do shit to get here. Why the hell we celebrating you? You just showed up and became a problem. You became a bill. You became a football player that I gotta pay gear for. You became another mouth to feed. You became all that. Why the hell am I celebrating you? And nowhere else in the world have we celebrated problems, but we celebrated kids. The people that need to be celebrated, the people that did the work. My wife, I will always go to her on my son's birthday. I will always tell her happy birthday because she did the work. I ain't sitting there lying to myself. She did the work. If not, my wife be like, "Hey, I want to celebrate his birthday," which she never do. Then I'll be like, "Okay, I gotta bend to that." But this kid saying, "Oh yeah, it's my birthday," hell no. Damn him. I guarantee you, and all y'all parents out there, and Alex, you gonna find out soon your parents out there, when your kid came out, their hands look like this. Everybody say their hands balled up. Their hands look like this. Because this is what they're saying. We about to take all the money that you got left. That's all they saying. So why am I celebrating somebody taking the money out of that? I literally today is the 1st of March. My son literally on the 1st of March said, "Hey, where my allowance?" What the hell? That's the, they don't hear the cake. Yeah, they'll be all right. But the thing that I'm trying to teach my son is this day don't matter. The other 364 days matter. So you take care of the other 364 days, your 365th day will be all right. But this 365th day, if you fucked up the other 364, it don't absolve you from the 364. That's the problem. Is we set our kids up for failure in the future. And the only reason why I say this is because look at life now. Everybody in my generation is still living off a premise that their parents and grandparents said before. Nobody ever took into account that their parents and grandparents before didn't have no damn money. But we still living off that premise, and today we still ain't got shit. That's how I get to not celebrating family, not celebrating all this other crap. Go ahead. All right, Alex, I got one for you. LM, he's on a roll. A single family home, would you suggest selling for lump sum cash or renting it out? I'll let you answer that.
I prefer renting. I mean, In the event of selling, it would just depend. If it's just, there would have to be a drastic like crisis going on with the house for me to just sell it. Like it's on top of a sinkhole or something. I don't know. It just have to be a terrible situation where I just don't want to deal with it anymore. But we primarily, well, both of us, yeah, we primarily buy to rent out the properties.
So for me, single family homes, it depends on what situation you're in. Uh, for me, it's whatever situation you're in. Like if you live in a home and you're trying to, I don't know if you're trying to upshift or go buy another home or something like that, but then I would just strictly, like Alex said, if I'm trying to buy another home, I'm not gonna get fancy with it. If I can't muster the cost of owning this home and owning another home, then I will sell it. But when it comes to, hey, I'm in it for the investment purposes only, meaning my fallback plan is investment. You don't want your fallback plan to be invested. You want your primary plan to be investment. What I mean is, all right, we're in this house. The plan is to invest. So we're going to invest this house, but we saved up to put a big down payment on another home so we can live in that and rent out this one. A lot of people have that fallback plan with, hey, I can't get the price that I want for the home, so I guess I'm just going to invest. You don't want to be in that situation. I guess I'm going to invest in me. You not putting enough down payment in this home, so you hoping that the rental property will finance you living in this property. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to be in a situation where rental is the primary objective. For Alex, I know for me it's the same thing. Every property I buy now, it's always, hey, I'm buying it to be a rental property later. Or I'm buying it, it's already a rental property, and I'm just going to uplift the property to get more rents out of it. But I don't want, again, I don't know your situation, but I just wanted to state that to clarify that across the board.
Right.
Any other questions out there? Mm, 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 mm. Alex, you see any more?
No.
See a heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, but really, that's what it comes down to. The best you come from the hardest climb. The thing is, just keep climbing. Stop worrying about what everybody else doing. Stop worrying about, hey, this is tradition. This is what we've been doing. Change it. I mean, only thing you got to do is, if this has been tradition in our family, what has been the result of this tradition? That's it. What's the result of this tradition? I mean, I still remember talking to my mom, and I asked her, I said, okay, you keep buying Christmas gifts. How the hell can you afford it? And then she told me her process. Okay, well, I reach out to this person, they give me the money, and then I said, you spend the rest of the year paying it back? And she said, yeah. I said, to do it all over again? She said, yeah. And then she said, you have to do what you have to do. Right then, I realized, oh, no, no. I ain't celebrating this thing no more. Look at the results of what came before. So you gonna hold on to a tradition, and I'm not picking on Rakaya. I'm just talking about in general because everybody got tradition. You gonna stick to a tradition that's going to inevitably leave you broke, and you don't have to look far to see if it leaves you broke. Only thing you gotta do is look at your parents, look at your aunts, look at your uncles, look at your grandparents. What was their end result before the end of their life? If they end up broke, it's probably because the traditions that y'all believe in, the family, the holidays, the birthdays. We focus on what 12, 15 days out of the year to save up all our money to disperse it out, but then we leave 325 days a year to just say, "Oh, we just gonna just fake it till we make it till we get to the holidays." So that's how I look at that. LMM. He said, "What do you do for taxes?" CPA. You can hire a CPA if you want to. Taxes, you owe them, pay them. I mean, we could talk about circumventing taxes using depreciation, express depreciation, and things like that. But I mean, I will always recommend hiring a CPA. But we have videos about ways that I mean, not we, the ways that you can mitigate taxes, not avoid taxes, mitigate taxes with, um, again, depreciation, express depreciation, writing off expenses, putting different avenues in real estate as investment. Of course, having real estate gives you a lot of tax advantages because the tax code says you get those advantages, not because we say it. The tax code says it. So that's one of the reasons why we don't play the fix and flip game. We play the buy the real estate, hold it long term. Because if you providing housing for people, then the IRS will give you the best benefit when it comes to taxes. Alex, I got one more out here. Somebody just came in and said how to do passive income. Now that's your framework. Yeah.
It is yours too. I mean, passive income is just gonna be. It's gonna come from any asset or business that you buy. Get it operational, and then once it's operating, the money that comes from it is, I guess, considered passive income. But passive income is not free. It does come at a cost through sweat and equity. I mean, you got to put in, or sweat and capital, I would say. You got to put up capital to have that capital work for you.
Right. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And then I want to bring up a point that I forgot to bring up earlier, and I'm really talking to the husbands out there. I mean, some maybe the wives, but I'm talking to the husband out there, so you understand. One of the things that's very, very oh, I was reading the comments, so I was just making sure. No, we haven't purchased tax lien properties. But I want to give a message to the husbands out there. One thing that's very cringeworthy to me, and I've heard it from a lot of people, and don't think this is some alpha male syndrome thing that's going on. That's not what this is. But I need your husbands to listen up and listen. I mean, some it may be the wives need to listen up also, but the husbands y'all need to listen up. So I always have conversations, and then I'll say something that sounds crazy to the husband, and then they always say, "Oh, I have to talk to my wife about it." I'm not mad that people say they got to talk to their wife about it. I'm mad that they sound so defeated when they say they have to talk to their wife about it. And Alex will tell you, I'm the biggest critic out there. I believe hard conversations need to happen, but the fact that you sound so defeated before you even talk to your wife is because you already know the answer before you have that conversation. And I'm talking to the husbands out there. The reason why you sound so defeated talking to your husband, I mean talking to your wife, excuse me, is because or you don't believe your wife will believe in the vision that you have now, is because you haven't put shit together before. You haven't shown consistency, dedication, and discipline to do nothing over the time that y'all been together or being married. That's why your wife won't follow you into the abyss. Now, sorry if I start a conversation or argument at home, but it's the truth. You think my wife would sit here and be like, "Hey, I'll just tell her, hey, we can't spend our money, we can't do nothing," and she'd just say, "Okay." It's the only reason why she's saying okay is because she's seen the history. She's seen me putting shit together over and over and over again over a long period of time, and I'm dedicated to whatever we're doing. If your wife is giving you pushback, it's because of you. It's not your wife's fault. Because I agree with him 100%. I wouldn't follow half of you motherfuckers out to the damn corner store because you don't have the discipline, dedication to do it, and you don't show the propensity to have the discipline and dedication to follow it all the way through. So I got to be the one to tell you, but that's what. So when you sit there and say, "Oh, I have to talk to my wife," that's great. But when you sit there and say, "Oh, I got to talk to my wife," you already know the conversation over with because you haven't shown shit before. So hear that well. And then I know the wives that some might be listening, like, "Oh no, baby, he's not telling you that." I'm telling the exact damn truth. Wives, I'm trying to bail you out. I remember talking to Alex. I tell Alex to do the craziest shit on earth. And then he'll go to his wife and be like, "This motherfucker Kirby crazy, but we gonna this is what he said we need to do." His wife be like, "Hell yeah, let's get on it right now." The reason why she can say, "Hell yeah, let's get on it right now," is because she's seeing her husband dedicated, disciplined, doing it over and over again, and got to an endpoint. She know it sounds crazy, but she know Kirby ain't sitting there telling him to do shit crazy that ain't gonna enter to the point that he wants to get to. So understand what's going on. And I'm not mad. Trust me, this is not a bash the wife segment. Wives, I understand why y'all won't. But sorry, I exposed y'all for what the real reality of it is. So I apologize. But I just had to let the husband know that is why they won't follow you to the end of time because you don't show that you have the propensity to follow through all the way to the end goal. Alex, you anything?
Looks like we got a comment on how people start startups. Any tips? Um, Startups. I mean, it's not easy, right? I think social media makes starting a business look easier than it really is. Um, I have. There's only one person I can think off the top of my head that did a startup. It's a friend, Will. I met him when I was 17. We're roughly around the same age, but he started selling like military antiques and stuff. And same thing as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, he completely went with it, and I just shifted towards like stocks and real estate. It's just what I prefer. But he eventually got like contracts with governments, contracts with. Now he's selling surplus, selling gear to Ukraine, selling gear to Israel, selling gear to the Congo and Africa, stuff like that. But he completely 100% dedicated himself. You've got to put in the work, you've got to network, you've got to sacrifice everything, really. I mean, I just remember him doing it, and it's like all his time and all his money just went to that. I think the first 2 or 3 years when he got launched, he didn't pay himself any salary. Um, Paid his employees, but he just put everything into it. So it takes a lot, but if you're willing to do that, then you'll be successful.
And I will just piggyback off of that. Like Alex said, that hard work, dedication that it'll take to do that. For us, I mean, I believe in but just buying business already created and then making them better. I think that's easier, but of course it takes capital. When you start with the startup, then you're more sweat equity, and then you can pull the levers and do what you need to do. And then once you have a basis, you can show the propensity to get stuff done. Then you can go raise capital on the outside markets. I go a different route. I just look at business that's already created, and then I see that they're operating inefficiently, so I give them a cutthroat price to buy the business they accept, and then I go in there and then reorganize the whole business so the business can operate, and then I go put in the extra elements of it, and then that's the same thing Warren Buffett did with Berkshire Hathaway. Everybody think everybody believed that Warren Buffett created Berkshire Hathaway. He didn't. Berkshire Hathaway was a textile company that he ended up becoming a majority shareholder, firing the CEO, and then creating to what it is today, which is a multi conglomerate that owns. It's a holding company that owns a lot of businesses. I believe in that model. It's easier to buy revenue than to create revenue. So, in with that, if you buy the revenue, let's say you buy a business that's already generate revenue, you trim the fat off of it, do whatever it needs to do to make sure it continues to operate, and then you can start leveraging, adding on, horizontal integration, vertical integration, however you want to do it by acquiring other businesses or building other steps or tiers to that business, then it will be easier because you already have revenue from the residual customers is already there, and then you just work to grab new customers and present new items, new avenues, so the customer can see value, and then that's the easiest way to do it. But doing startups, you can do big things with startups, but understand, like Alex said, it's a lot of hard work in there. Both ways, a lot of hard work, but the second way, it'll take more capital up front to do it, but it's easier to see the revenue and the profit side than doing a startup.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the biggest difference between just investing and trying to start something on your own.
Yeah. All right. If there are no other questions out there, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like the channel, like the video, subscribe, keep sending comments. Please keep looking at the videos. It costs you nothing to hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing to watch the videos when they come out. Even if you put them on mute, I'm gonna tell the truth. If you put them on mute and just run them, it's a benefit to us, for the time, energy, and effort that we spend in coming up with content for this channel. So please, everybody, just go out there and click the videos and watch those. But again, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I hope we answered all your questions. And I hope to see you next Saturday on live. As far as our long form videos that come out, we do it on Monday and Thursday now, right, Alex? Monday and Thursday,
Yeah, yeah.
and then so we stopped the everyday model, but we're gonna start bringing some other things out there for you to enjoy and hopefully bring value to you so you can uh, do better in your financial journey. With that said, Alex, you got anything else to close it up?
Now we'll close it there. But
All right. Well,
all
y'all
right,
have a
guys.
good one.
All right, guys. We'll see you.